Hello everyone, I'm Lavanya Vaishnavi. Today we will discuss VLSI design. We will take up module 1 and in that we will take chapter 1. So in chapter 1 we will be discussing about introduction, MOSFET symbol, MOS transistor and how does a MOSFET work as a switch, what is the ideal characteristic and what are the non-ideal effects and CMOS inverters. So in this session, I'll be covering the first three topics, what is introduction, MOSFET as a symbol, MOS transistor and MOS transistor as a switch. So coming to the introduction, William Shockley invented MOS transistors in the year 1947. If you just remember the size of a computer, it was almost a room full. So that is because it was completely filled with vacuum tubes. But once the transistor was invented, the electronics starts its new era after 1950. So after 1950, in 1959, so Mr. Darwin Kang and Muhammad Atala invented MOSFET. So what is MOSFET? Metal oxide semiconductor field effect transistor. So next is the generation of VLSI. VLSI was next is the generation of IC. So in 1958, Jack Kibley built the first IC which had a true transistor in it and it was designed only for the making of flip-flop. So that was a tiny IC, or that was the first IC that was designed by Jack Kibley in the year 1958. Next comes the Moore's law. So what is Moore's law? Why do you want to read it? So in 1965, Gordon Murray he wrote in an article telling that after every 18 months there will be the number of transistor doubles in the IC. It means that if you have a unit area in the IC, so in this unit area, if you are able to accommodate 100 number of devices today, by next 18 months you can accommodate easily 200. That means the size of the transistor or the size of the devices will reduce to half after every 18 months. Let us start the era at the year 1970. In the year 1970, so Intel first proposed 4004. So later we got 8008, then 8080, like that it went on. Today we are able to get i7 and in that you have 10th generation processor, right? So i7 10th generation processor, so which can accommodate approximately 1.3 billion number of transistors in it. Okay, so it is the capacity of today's i7 processor. So if you just look at the graph, you can see a linear rise in the number of devices that we can accommodate in the IC. Not only this, there is an increase or there is a development in the frequency of operation also, and also there is a less power consumption. The power consumption from the ICs have been decreased day to day. So this shows the clock speed. So the clock speed initially in 1970 it was even less than 1 megahertz, but today, so if you end with a graph, we are at 2020 now, but the graph is ending at 2010. Here the speed was more than 1000 megahertz. Okay, so look at the drastic change here. So almost in a span of 40 years we have crossed 1000 times of it. Okay, so like this there are many factors to specify. So this is about Moore's law. Let us start with the actual subject, where we will start with MOS transistor. So what is MOS transistor? From what it is made of? MOS transistor is made of silicon. So silicon is a semiconducting material. So each silicon atom has 4 valence electrons. This is a well-known fact till now. Now silicon atom has 4 valence electron and each silicon atom in its lattice is connected with 4 neighboring electrons. So you can see 1, 2 and this is 3 and this is 4, right? So each silicon atom is connected with 4 neighboring atoms by sharing its electron. So this is a 3D model. If I go with a 2D model, this will be the structure. Silicon atoms share each electron with its neighboring atom. This diagram is at absolute 0 degree Kelvin. If I raise the temperature to room temperature, these electrons gain a thermal energy and break the bond and become free electron. So not all the electron but few of the electrons will be ready for the conduction. So once they are ready for the conduction, this silicon will start conducting. But there is also another way to start conducting in the silicon material. You can improve the number of free electrons by adding doping. So this is called extrinsic semiconducting material. In extrinsic semiconducting material, there are two types. One is N-type, the other one is P-type. So in N-type material, we add pentavalent impurity like phosphorus. So this phosphorus gives us a free electron. It gives us a free electron for conduction at 0 degree Kelvin only. So in P-type semiconducting material, you add a trivalent impurity, which you call it as, or example is boron, where this boron has only 3 valence electron. Therefore, this electron, the fourth electron, is now free to conduct. That means there is a hole created, and in this hole, this electron can jump or any other electron can jump and cause the conductivity. So this is how you can make the silicon conducting, that is using doping methods. So the purest form of silicon is called intrinsic semiconductor, and the impure form, that is the one which you have doped, is called extrinsic semiconductor. Coming to MOS transistor, there are before going to the MOS transistor, I want to tell about what does the word MOS mean. MOS is metal oxide semiconductor. Why is this metal? Where you are using this metal? What is this oxide? Where is the oxide? What is this silicon? Where is it? First thing, this is the structure of MOS transistor. In the structure of MOS transistor, you have the metal layer, which is gate. Below the metal layer, you have silicon, which is oxide, silicon dioxide, so it is oxide. Below the oxide layer, you have P substrate, so it is silicon, metal, oxide, semiconductor. So this is the actual structure of MOSFET. But metal had few disadvantages, like it was getting heated up very easily and it has a little high resistance. To avoid it, metal has been replaced with polysilicon now. Now we retain the name as it is, but the thing is, instead of metal gate, we are using polysilicon gate. So this is called polysilicon. The next is silicon dioxide. The base or the bulk, you call it as substrate. So it is metal oxide semiconductor. Now first I will tell you about the properties. This MOS transistor is classified into two major types. One is enhancement, the other one is depletion. In enhancement mode, you have polysilicon, silicon dioxide, and N plus is the source, N plus is the drain. First, we have a substrate. In this substrate, you have N plus source, that is you diffuse N plus material here. And you have a drain which is also similar to N plus. These source and drain are interchangeable, you can interchange it. Based on the DC supply what you give, you can decide which is source and which is drain. The property of silicon dioxide here. So the property of silicon dioxide is it is pure non-conductor, like it is an insulator there. So why it is an insulator? Because it should not allow any of the ions or any of the charges that is present in the substrate to move towards the gate, or it should not allow any of the charges present in the gate to move towards the substrate. So silicon dioxide is a perfect insulator. This silicon dioxide thickness will be very minute. So it won't be much thick, it will be very minute. And this polysilicon gate is used to store the charges. Okay, so this is about NMOS enhancement mode transistor. Why it is called NMOS? Because you have source and drain made up of N-type material. The same thing if I go with the P-type material. So you have N substrate, in that you have P plus material, and all other structures similar. So then it is called PMOS enhancement mode transistor. Okay, so this is about enhancement mode, P-type and N-type transistor. So why it is called enhancement? Because whenever I apply VGS to gate, positive voltage to gate, this VGS will start conducting in the channel, or it makes the channel formation here. It makes the channel formation here, and hence you can have the current IDS. So that is the reason it is called enhancement mode transistor. The next one is depletion mode transistor. The major difference between enhancement mode and depletion mode is that you have already the channel formed in depletion mode transistor. So in depletion mode transistor, when I give negative voltage, there we give positive voltage. If I give negative voltage here, the channel which is formed will break. The channel which is formed will break, and this will create, or this will make the device non-conducting. Therefore, it is called depletion mode transistor. Therefore, it is called depletion mode transistor. So, here also you have two types. One is NMOS and the other one is PMOS. The NMOS and the other one is PMOS. The NMOS will be having N plus source, and PMOS will be having P plus source and drain. So, this channel, the formation of channel is done by a method called implant. It is done by a method called implant. It is done with a method called implant. And there is a major difference between N-type and N+ material. So what is that? If I say it is an N-type material, it is normally doped. And if I say it is N+, it is highly doped. If I say P-type material, it is normally doped. If I say P+ material, it is highly doped. So this is about MOS transistor. Coming to the MOSFET symbol. So there are several types of description, like how do you write MOSFET. I will take only one type which is commonly used, where you have three terminals. This is gate, and this can be source, and this can be drain. So here it is gate, and this can be source, and this can be drain. So in P-type material you have a bubble here telling that you are giving an inverted input. In N-type MOSFET you don't have any bubble, and this belongs to enhancement mode transistor. These two symbol belongs to enhancement mode transistor. So if you can see this clearly, you have gate, and there is no connection between gate and the channel. This is the channel line. This is the channel line. Now coming to the depletion mode transistor, here you can directly see the implant. That is, you have a thick channel here, indicating that the channel formation is already done. So whenever you give VGS, this channel will break and stop the conduction. Therefore, it is called a depletion mode transistor. So again, in PMOS you have a bubble telling that you have an inverting input, and in NMOS you don't have any bubble. So the second set belongs to depletion mode. The first set belongs to enhancement mode. Next, MOS transistor as a switch. So in this complete part of theory, we are going to study the application of MOSFET into the digital applications. Therefore, we study the MOSFET with respect to 0 volts and with respect to 1 volt. Okay. So the input is always given to the gate terminal. So this is the gate terminal. Okay. So when I give 0 and 1, what happens when I give 0? Because when I give 0, here you have a bubble, so it works in opposite. So you will be getting 1. It means PMOS will turn on. When I give 0 to gate for the NMOS, the gate will turn off the device. That is, whatever you give to source, it will not be given to drain. Whereas in PMOS, whatever you give to source, that will be conducted to drain. Next step, I will give 1. So I will give 1 to gate of PMOS, then it will turn off the device. It will turn off the device. When I give 1 to NMOS, it will turn on the device. It will turn on the device. So this is how MOS transistor will work as a switch. So the rest will be continued in the next session. Thank you for watching this video. If you have any doubts, you can write me back. Please like the video, share with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you.